On December 17th, a man named Orville stepped into a homemade machine as his brother Wilbur, as well as some other spectators, looked on with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. Orville started the machine up, made sure the path was clear and the weather was sufficient, and soon began speeding up and rising towards the sky as he guided the first ever powered flight in an airplane. As the president of the American Historical Association, I stand before you with the great honor of presenting this new memorial of two men who have largely and rightfully been recognized as the two greatest inventors of all time. Orville and Wilbur Wright, better known as the Wright brothers, will receive statues in North Carolina in dedication of their influential and revolutionary contributions to the world of aviation and transportation. These statues are appropriate not only because Wilbur Wright recently had his birthday on April 16th, but also because we are currently in a hopefully short period of time where the world's safety circumstances prevent us from being able to use airplanes to their full extent. This is not a statement against governments that are advocating against air travel, but rather a statement that simply reflects the importance and an effect on everyday life that the Wright brothers have had over the past several decades. One could argue that earlier theories and blueprints for airplane-like contraptions were more influential in providing the fundamentals and foundations for modern aviation. However, it was the Wright brothers and their willingness to find new strategies and ways to achieve their goals that set them apart from those who simply only dreamed of flying. When their test flights ended poorly, they learned instead of assuming failure. When they couldn't find an engine that was both light enough and powerful enough for their needs, they didn't take it as a sign for them to quit. They moved forward, using their own intuition and aspiration to satisfy their requirements. Many people today don't realize the magnitude of change that has resulted with airplanes. After test flights were studied, models were approved, and airplanes became plentiful, the world became much smaller. Long journeys became short trips, distant regions became neighbors, and dangerous voyages became much more safe and easy when airplanes finally hit the mainstream. Unfortunately, disaster has occurred involving airplanes as well. Terrorism, military events, and other deadly scenarios have taken advantage of airplanes for malicious intent. But we must not scrutinize airplanes as a curse. We must move past these tragedies and focus on the blessing that airplanes have truly had on the world. They not only represent facilitation, but innovation as well. They represent the stunning progress humans have maintained and contributed to for centuries. The statues will be placed in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, where the Wright brothers flew their first successful flight, as the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum states. This town is not only representative of their success, but also their ambition. This was where Orville and Wilbur Wright put all of their doubts and fears behind them, risking public mockery and even personal safety in order to change the aviation landscape forever. The Wright brothers should serve as reminders that the old saying, anything is possible, is not wrong in the slightest. Flight was almost mythical before the Wright brothers defied expectations. Now, it's not a matter of if, but when the next fresh and novel idea will appear and change the world and the way we live.